Hi, good afternoon. It is just after 6 o'clock, and I'm getting ready to do my live yoga class. However, before I start my yoga class tonight, I'm going to be making myself some spiced yogi tea. The yogis would drink the cinnamon, and I'm going to do this as I'm explaining. 3 sticks of cinnamon. This is a gallon of filtered water. You can use, okay, I got 4 in there. It's okay if you make it a little strong. I like it strong. I'm a reformed coffee drinker, so I drink strong tea, strong coffee, and especially when I'm drinking it without milk and sugar. These are black peppercorns. You can see here, I'm going to hold them up to the camera for you. Just, plain black peppercorns. This is about the middle of my hand, which is a little more than the 10 or 20. But this pot that I'm using here is larger than a gallon. Cloves, again, I'll hold them up to the camera, just plain clove spice, and I'm going to throw those in my gallon of water. And then I'm going to pull out my coffee scoop, and that's my coffee scoop. We'll get to that. Green cardamom pods. The pods are whole, and then I put them in my mortar and pestle and grind them up. And as I'm grinding up my cardamom pods, that lets the seeds come out, and I like the flavor of the cardamom with the pods. These are green cardamom pods. It's a lighter flavor than the brown or the black cardamom. And then I'm going to put in another palmful. Those are my basic spices and my ginger. So with my ginger root, I'm going to show you here. Charlie's going to have a fit because I'm making a mess on the table, but he's not here right now, so that's okay. So I'm going to peel my ginger root with a spoon, and this is almost 2 inches because, again, that pot of water that I'm using is almost 2 gallons. It's more than 1 gallon. And so I like to make it all at once. I was in the store, probably 10 years, 15 years ago, and I was buying all of the spices, and a lady from India comes up to me and she says, "Honey, what are you making?" I said, "I'm getting the spices to make yogi tea." She says, "Chai tea?" I said, "Yes, the chai tea." She says, "Do you boil it with the milk and put the sugar and make it all 1 dose at a time?" And I said, "Well, that's what I found on the internet." And she says, "I make it by the gallon and don't put the sugar or the milk, and then put it in the refrigerator." I'm just going to rinse my ginger root off here, and then take it out and warm it up 1 cupful at a time. And now I'm just going to slice. This is just 1 inch of peeled ginger root. Okay, 2 inches, so it's a little bit more than what it is. But like I said, I like my teas, so all chopped up. Okay, so those are the basic 5 spices: ginger, clove, cinnamon, cardamom, black pepper. And those are warming spices. And so after a yogi practice, they're very soothing to the muscles. And if you use a decaf black tea, which I'm using, I'm turning this up to start my water heating up and boiling. Now, sometimes I get experimental. And so in my experiment, I've added all of these other spices in. So this is allspice, and again, they're the whole cloves. As you can tell, I buy spice in bulk, and so I'm putting in just a palm full of the allspice cloves to go in, and then these are star of anise, and again, they're crushed, you know, so I wrote on the side approximately 5 stars, but again, a palm full, and the star of anise is going in. Now, if there's a flavor here that you don't like, or a spice that maybe you don't like, I'm putting in just 2 slices of dried licorice root. Being mindful of licorice root if you have high blood pressure. They say licorice root can raise your blood pressure. I don't have that issue. And then I'm going to counter the licorice root with the high blood pressure. And I'm going to put in a palm full of culinary lavender bulbs. These are not the ones that you use in making potpourri, but you could use them for making your mask. And then I'm also going to put in some fennel seeds. Fennel seeds have a unique flavor and just help with rounding it out. And today I'm also going to put in some dill seeds, and just again a handful, just barely covering the palm of my hand. And I guess I need another light in my kitchen as well. Oops. Alright, so the oatmeal's coming up off of the burner. I just cleaned the whole thing not too long ago, and it's not going to light, but it's just going to smoke a little bit. And my friend Asha would tell me, you put bay leaf in the food but not in the tea. But bay leaf has some very good medicinal properties. And if I'm eating plain foods, you know, just rice and some fruit, or, you know, plain vegetables, I like putting the different spices in my tea, and then I know I'm getting those spices. Okay, this is going to be shifted over to the other burner, and we'll just put it on that burner. This is a bag of spearmint leaves, so I'm going to put in some spearmint leaves and gently open this very gently, and I'm going to take my scooper and take out a scoopful of my spearmint leaves and put spearmint leaves in, and I will put those back away after I click you off before I head down for yoga. And then I have a bag of lemongrass open somewhere. This is lemongrass, but it's closed. Well, for the sake of time. And sometimes I do put in a scoop of lemon thyme because I like the lemony flavor. So I'm going to take and just put a scoop of lemongrass in. And I buy my spices, lemongrass, at one of my local Indian markets. You can buy spices online. You know, any grocery store. But the lemongrass and the spearmint are sometimes not so easy to find, and so the Indian markets, the Korean markets, and the Amish markets have the spices in bulk. So now this is up on high. I have all of my spices in, and I'm going to let this just sort of stir it in and cover it, and it's going to come up and it's going to start to boil. And then when it boils, I'm going to put it down on low, 1 or 2 to simmer. I'm going to go teach yoga, and then after yoga I'm going to come back and add more water so that it's reconstituted again, and bring it back to a boil. And then when I bring it back to a boil, I'm going to put my 10 tea bags in and let that steep. And then after it's finished steeping, I take out my ladle and I ladle it into my mason jars. So, or sometimes I put it in old orange juice containers. So I have, you know, quart-sized mason jars, the little ones, or I use the full quart size like this. I have more of these downstairs, and I fill up 4 or 5. This will fill up about 8 of these. And then when I'm on the road and I'm teaching yoga from place to place, I grab a mason jar full of tea and bring it with me. So thank you for sharing making yogi tea with me, and I will see you in about an hour. I will meet you on the mat for yoga. Thank you. Have a great evening. See you soon. And thank you for all who came out. I see Richard Johnson. I see Ken, Ann Geronis, Jess Ruth. It's great to see you all, and some of you have seen me carrying my mason jars full of my yogi tea with me. Namaste. See you soon.